स्टार्ट कर दोनों में रिकॉर्डिंग. Okay. So I hope everybody can hear me. Can anybody respond? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So most of you people, this year I realize that entrance exam is getting tougher and tougher every year. So at least you have qualified the first round, which is written exam. And in the past, every year they keep changing their things in terms of what exactly will be happening. So, but still, considering 4 to 5 years of experience, what exactly they were doing, and you must have seen a couple of videos where previous students have shared their experience, that what exactly they expect in the orientation interview. So now, since 3 year as well as 1 year list is out, and if you have not received so far the exact date, 19th onward, the interview and orientation is expected to start. Now, there are two kind of things which will happen over there. One is when you join the program, the collective, the first introductory round, everybody introduces themselves. And so they would generally might show something collectively. And that's one thing. So in a collective class, what can happen is, let's say, for example, what is already being done, not necessarily the similar kind of thing would happen. Let's say, for example, in examination, I remember a painting was given to you people and it was supposed to be discussed. It is a little strange painting because I have a lot of interest in painting and I have invested quite a lot in books of various painters. To me also, that was a new. But there's always a certain formula which you can apply in appreciating any painting. Rather than being very specific, the formula is primarily the composition, the color scheme, the elements of composition, whether it has a perspective or not, whether it is more of flat, whether it has a source lighting. Like there is a painter called Caravaggio, and he is very much famous for the source lighting. So these are a few things which you could have described even if you have not seen the painting earlier. If it is the first time, if you're watching something like that, you can still describe it in your way. So that formula is primarily the composition, the color scheme, or anything which you are able to notice. But now that thing could also be again repeated, remember. So it's not that if it was asked in examination, it will not be asked again. So they might show you collectively a photograph, and they might show you a painting, and then will ask you to describe in certain number of words and send it across to them via email. So that would be one more, because when everybody start talking, let's say, for example, in this class, if 33 people are supposed to be there, there are 27. So it's quite a good strength. So if everybody starts speaking, then nobody will be able to hear anybody else. So that the best way is always to have a individual attention, and then one person talks, and then probably you would be able to answer. Now, my first question to all of you is that, have you seen the film called Knife in the Water, directed by Roman Polanski? You can unmute yourself and say if you have seen it. Don't tell me no. Tell me if anybody has seen it. Out of 27 people, is anybody who has seen this film? Roman Polanski, Knife in the Water. It's the first film by Roman Polanski. Okay. So there is a gentleman called Sumil Sarkar. Sumil Sarkar, can you switch on your video?
If me
Sumil,
a woman, sir.
sorry, it's a lady. Okay. So, Sumil, are you in a position to open your video?
Yes, sir. Give me
Okay. If you can, please. It'll be good for other people also too. Now, that was a very specific question. You get it? Now, this question is a very specific question. So, out of 28 people, one person have seen the film. So, once she comes on the video, then I would talk to her and ask a real question. This is not a real question. This is just the introductory thing. So, I know that who's the person concerned. So, are you there, Sumil? Okay, if it is difficult, then it's fine. We could just let me ask the question. So don't bother about that. Okay. So my question is that in the opening sequence, when the titles are coming over there, okay, what is the most important thing to notice from cinematography point of view? That is my question. From cinematography point of view, what was the most important thing to notice?
cannot recall it. I actually watched it.
No. This is a ridiculous answer. If you say you have seen it, it was the most important thing. I'm not asking in the middle or somewhere in the opening is a very, very important thing to remember that. So if you have seen it and if you don't know what it is, so you didn't bother to notice it. As simple as that. So doesn't matter. But when you say if you have seen it, you should be able to answer the question. So now you can switch off your video so that I'll continue with other people. So this is out of 27 people, one person has seen a film and the answer is, I don't remember because I have seen the film long back. Even if you have seen the long back, I'm asking the opening sequence of the film. So there is something which is very important in the opening sequence of the film. So this will be a kind of assignment to all of you that tomorrow morning, you will send me, you will try to find this film on the net and check what exactly is the most important thing over there and what is there to be noticed, and then what should be your answer. So if your answer is not there, it means you didn't notice. And if your answer is wrong, then obviously you lose it over the others. So now out of 27 people, only one person has seen. So what would happen is that they will show you the opening sequence of 3 minutes, for example. So now you can't say, oh, I have not seen it. You can't say, oh, I saw it long back, so I don't remember. So they will show you 3 minute opening sequence. And then the question would be what I just said. What is the most important thing from cinematography point of view and how it would have done? Something is happening over there. Okay. Something is happening over there and how it would have done by the cinematographer. That is the technical question connected with the opening sequence. How if something is happening, let's say, for example, right now my background is blur. Let's say, for example, and if blur background become in focus. So you would be able to say, if I say that what is happening in the opening of the class, so you could say that background was blurred and now the background become sharper. If it happens, for example. So something which is a very, very important thing, which happens in the opening sequence. This is homework for today. It's not that you come here and switch off your mobile and keep sleeping and you would get in. Remember, it is 1:3 ratio. So far, you have qualified the 33% part, which is 66% of the part is still in their hand, and you need to crack it so that you would be among those people who are from the top 10 list of the people. So showing of a particular sequence, okay? Instead of saying this, now let me put the same question in a different way. Okay, I'm asking the same question in a different language, but the question remains same. Choose any sequence from any film, okay, and describe what is so important there from the cinematographic point of view. I repeat my question again. Choose any sequence from any film, and describe what is happening over there from cinematography point of view, which is worth noticing. Okay. Now I make the same question more tough. Choose any European film and pick up a sequence and describe what is so important happening from the cinematography point. So I have narrowed down the range. Earlier it was any film. Now I could make the same question a little more different perspective, that choose any Hollywood film. And now I'm using a word, choose any Hollywood film and pick up a sequence and describe from the cinematography point of view what is so important over there, which you have noticed. So question remains same. I made it very specific. I shown you a particular sequence. I said, you choose any sequence from any film. I said, you choose any sequence from European film. I said, you choose any sequence from Hollywood film. So the same thing could be picked up in a different format. So you can't say, yeah, I have not seen a Hollywood film. So if you have not seen a Hollywood film, please apply next year. There's no problem. Today, there is a YouTube and there are all channels. There is so much of international cinema available on the internet. If you're not interested, then it is your problem. It is not their problem. Remember, you are going to an institution which is known for their work to be recognized internationally. This particular year, if you remember, if some of you have cinematographers in your list, Santosh Shivan was awarded a very, very important award by Engineers Lens in Cannes Film Festival. Every year they do it. We are carrying the cover story this particular year. So Indian cinematographers are being acknowledged internationally, and that's quite an achievement for Indian work. So and again, Santosh Shivan is a graduate from FTII Pune. So what I'm saying is indirectly that they are looking for international standards, not the local standard. So your exposure to the international cinema is a must, even if you are an editing student, cinematography student, direction, editing, whatever is your discipline, doesn't matter. That's why the foundation course for 1 year. If you join a 3-year program, 1 year is a foundation course in which everybody learn everything. Only acting student do the common course for 6 months, and then they branch out into their respective specialization for 1.5 years, because it's a 2-year program only. Rest of the 3-year people, they make the continuity film in the next semester of the first year, and then second year, third year is a specialization exclusively, though the people interact on the diploma film, dialogue exercise, mise-en-scene, etc., etc. So this is one. Now, technical understanding. If the exam is over, it doesn't mean that they will not ask a technical question. So when 1:1 interaction is happening, which will happen any time duration between 20 to 30 minutes. And that is the time when they will zero in that whether you are in or you're out. 30 minutes max, because there are so many other people also. And there they would interact with you about your understanding of technicalities, your basic knowledge of photography, whether it's aperture, shutter speed, film speed, sensor, lenses, any kind of a thing. Any kind means any kind. And today, because of the YouTube, there's so much of awareness. Yesterday also and day before also, I've sent a list of various YouTube channels from cinematography, editing, sound recording, where I have picked up certain particular films. I mentioned their links also, which channel has which particular film. So kindly find time to look into those films and those clippings. And from there also, you can choose any of the film which really appeals to you. And you can pick up anything from there also. And in the future, make sure that you subscribe to those channels, roughly around 10 to 20 channels. And it's free. And you will come to know people have invested a lot of time and energy and money to make those videos, which will be very, very helpful for your education as a cinematographer. So this is something very particular I wanted to mention. Now, technical understanding. So technical understanding, now I have another question with you. Anybody can answer this question. Earlier it was a very specific. Now, my question is connected with a still photography. And it will give me, it is an indirect question. I'm not asking a direct question there. I'm asking an indirect question which applies a particular kind of a principle. Now, suppose you have a still photography camera 20 years back. Okay. And even today, even for that is also applicable for today also. So if you have a DSLR camera and or SLR camera for that matter, and you have three different lenses. You have three different lenses. Okay, let me be specific. It is a SLR camera, not digital DSLR camera. The camera in which you will put the negative roll over there, 36 exposure 1 or 24. And then you have three lenses given to you. One is a 28 mm, another is 50 mm, and another is 100 mm. So 100, 50, and 25. So you have three lenses over there, and you go to buy this body, let's say Nikon FM2, and you want to check whether the pressure plate is correctly placed over there, or there is a problem. If the pressure plate is not placed in the correct position, it will give the image out of focus. So pressure plate's positioning is very, very important, which will keep the negative very straight. So you have a doubt that somebody, you wanted to check whether the image would be in a focus or not. So you use that particular camera and put your negative and shoot, let's say for example, some photo. So my question is, out of three lenses, 100 mm, 50 mm, and 25 mm, which particular lens you will use to check the position of back of the pressure plate is correct or not? This is my question. 27 people. If you have not gone for a morning walk, if you are still around.
100 mm.
Yeah. Don't write it over here. Speak it out. And why?
Sir,
Which
100
lens?
mm. 100 mm.
100 mm.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Why?
50 mm.
Wait, 100 mm. Why 100 mm?
Sir, when the focal length is high, the depth of field becomes very, it will be very shallow. So
Correct.
we can check the focus.
That is to check the focus. Correct. My question is something else. You have not understood my question. Next, anybody? Second person.
So 50 mm lens.
50 mm lens. Why?
So because it is a normal lens, sir. So we
So-
can actually measure the distance. It will give the field of view which is equivalent to human perspective, and it will be easier to understand.
Third person. Question everybody understood? I need to see whether the pressure plate is properly aligned in the back or not, or it has some problem. I just need to check the pressure plate, which was there with a spring, and that will keep the image negative flat. Otherwise, negative is also sometimes curved. Okay, not sometime, because it remains in a small sprocket, so it becomes little curved. So the purpose of the pressure plate is to keep the negative very, very flat, absolutely flat, so that the image will be not unsharp. So I wanted to see sometime pressure plate could move a little bit here and there, and it can create a problem. So anybody out of 27 people who would like to attempt the question?
20, 25, 28 wala lens, because we get a wider frame and we can see if the film is teda or not.
See, if it is a wider frame, then I would say, let's say, for example, taking your logic, in a wider frame, the object where you are focusing, for example, would be small, you know. There's
Yeah.
so much of area in a focus. I'm talking about your logic. Your
Yeah.
logic is that since we have a wider area into the frame, right? So we
Yeah.
could see the objects are in focus. But if we take that logic, then technically speaking, if it is a telephoto kind of image, for example, let's say, for example, me, my background is blur, so you can easily see whether I am in a focus or not. But if you take a wider shot, so you don't know where exactly is the focal plane, where you have exactly the focus, because the depth of field is so much. So
I
everything
mean,
would be more or less in a focus.
we can use the F to make it shallow also.
So make it shallow. So you wanted to reduce the depth of field, right? Correct?
With a wider frame.
So
With a
that's what
wider.
I'm saying. With a wider frame, now you are trying to do two things contrary. You wanted to have a larger depth of field. That's why you choose the wider frame. And then you also wanted to have a lesser depth of field. So you go to the F2. So
Yeah.
it is contrary to each other. What are you trying to do? Now, my question is something else. None of you understood my question. There is something called depth of field and there is something called depth of focus. Do you think both are the same thing or both are different? Is
So it
depth
is
of field
different.
is the same or depth of focus?
Different, sir.
Different,
Or
sir.
they are different?
So depth of field is the focus area from the the subject we have focus to the the behind of the. So it is a small area that is depth of field, and it is calculated from the lens to the subject or wherever we focus, and the depth of field that is, and depth of focus is from the film, or you can say the sensor, from the sensor to uh, the what to say, the environment or the subject.
No. So what I'm trying to say is that you have no knowledge or understanding at least what is depth of focus.
The
And depth
depth of focus.
Yeah.
So can I say?
Yeah,
The
please.
depth of focus is the distance between the last glass element to this
Last glass
photographic
element
plane.
you are saying. Last glass element, the term you are using is last glass element. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Last glass element and
To the screen of photographic image or film. Photographic plane or film, sir.
film
That is
plane.
the
We call it as a film
film plane.
plane. Now, film plane is being replaced by sensor today. So, film
Yes,
plane.
sir.
So, you are saying depth of focus is the distance between the last element of the lens and the
Film plane.
correct? That is depth of
Yes,
focus.
sir. Yes, sir. In my
Is
understanding.
no. You will talk about your understanding. You will not talk about your friend's understanding or your neighbor's understanding. You will talk about your understanding. It goes without saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, is this boy who has said right now, is it correct sentence or is it a wrong sentence? Other people can come
Sir,
forward and say.
Sir, I want to say
Please.
that depth of field, depth of field is something which is an area in front of the lens, but depth of focus refers to the zone behind the lens.
Okay.
Yes,
Is it a zone behind the lens?
yes. Depth of focus is a zone behind the lens, and
Behind the lens.
depth of field
What is
is
that
in front
zone?
of.
What is that zone?
Sir, sir, it is a range behind the lens which image sensor can capture image that is in focus.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the range has to be higher or range has to be lower?
Sir, the range has to, sir, it can be measured according to the placement of image. It is not
For a particular
specified.
lens, is the depth of focus is a fixed or it is variable? Let me ask this question. For a
Sir,
particular lens, let's say 50 mm lens is there.
yes, sir.
Will the depth of focus range would be fixed or will it vary from various cameras?
No, sir, it will not vary, but it is measured in microscopic unit. I mean, it is
I
measured.
am not asking where it is measured, in which
Okay.
unit is it measured. I'm not asking the unit of measurement.
Okay.
I'm not asking the unit of measurement. My question is depth of focus. If I'll ask you in a one sentence,
Yes, sir.
how you would define depth of field and depth of focus?
So depth of field is an area which is in front of the lens in acceptable sharp focus, and depth of focus is the area
No.
behind the lens.
See, again, it is a confusion. So
Hmm.
that is what my question is. When you speak certain thing,
Yes,
the
sir.
clarity has to be there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So my question was that first, it is a different, obviously. Those who understand, they will say it is different, but those who don't, they will try to figure it out. And if you're trying to figure it out, it means you don't know.
Hmm.
So depth of field is a zone in front of the lens within which the objects are acceptably sharp,
Yes.
because you can focus only at a one particular plane.
Right.
And then slowly, the object in front and object behind it would become unsharp. And after a point, they will be completely unsharp, though 100% sharpness will be only at the plane where objects are there, where you are done the focus. So focus could be 4 feet, 7 feet, or 10 feet, wherever you want to do focus. But in front and behind, there would be objects which will slowly becoming unsharp. And then after a particular point, you see objects in front as well as behind are not sharp. So we are using a word acceptably sharp. 100% sharp would be only at the focal plane. Okay, which could be 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, wherever you want to focus. Now, this is in front. Now you go behind the lens. There's a term called focal flange distance. Please go and read it carefully today, once again, if you have not.
Okay.
And it is so depth of focus comes into the picture about this focal flange distance. And that range is such narrow that if your pressure plate, which today is sensor, position of the sensor, is little bit either in front or back, for whatever reason, the image will go out of focus. And this is the opposite of depth of field. So when we say, if you are using a telephoto lens, depth of field is shallow. In case of depth of focus, the range will be higher. In case of higher focal length, for depth of focus, range would be higher. But when you are using a wide angle lens, depth of field will be much more higher because in front of the lens, but the depth of focus range would be very narrow, very narrow comparative to the telephoto lens. So if I need to check the back focus, we use the word back focus, which is connected with a focal flange distance. I would use a 28 mm lens or 25 mm lens to check whether the pressure plate is correctly positioned or not, which is also applicable for the sensor. So if I need to figure it out, I would use, in those days, it was not a digital camera you could quickly see. In those days, it was a picture negative. So my answer is to see whether the pressure plate is incorrectly placed or not. I would use a wide angle lens because the depth of focus will be narrow comparative to the telephoto lens. This is one sentence answer. And this answer would depend upon your understanding. Have you understood depth of focus correctly and depth of field or not? So depth of field and depth of focus are totally opposite to each other, not only in terms of front and back side, but also in terms of the range. If the depth of field is maximum in case of wide angle lens, depth of focus would be minimum in case of wide angle lens. So this question I did not ask you directly. What I really wanted to understand is that do you understand the difference between depth of field and depth of focus? So this is an indirect question which I ask you, which most of you people had no clue what you're talking about. So your answer has to be, so you can't just simply say 28 mm lens, but why? So you need to substantiate your answer with a technical details, which is not directly asking you. So this is an indirect question about the understanding of depth of focus. So similarly, the assignment which I gave you has something to do with the technicality, that what exactly is happening in the opening sequence of the knife with the water and how the cinematographer would have done it. And anybody who understands basic fundamentals of photography clearly would be able to answer it. If you have not, first you have to observe, and then how it would have been done. If your understanding of the photography is there, you would be able to answer. If not, you will not be able to answer it. So this is in a brief I wanted to talk about. Now we'll move a little more further. Again, there are certain films which are done meticulously, very popular sequences are there. Let's say, for example, if another sequence which I would like you to watch again today, if you have not seen it, which is a film which is picturized by V.K. Murthy. In India, only one cinematographer got this honor to be Lifetime Achievement Award, which is basically Dada Saheb Phalke. Only one cinematographer is being given so far as I recollect, and none of them. So Kagaz Ke Phool is popular, but then Sahib Bibi O Gulam is another film which Murthy shot it. And there is a particular sequence in the film. I'm just quoting an example in case somebody wanted to give an example, which is also very well talked about. Sathiya aaj mujhe neend nahi aayegi. That was sequence is there in which the girls who are dancing over there in the side, they are in the shadow and the main actress is in the highlight. Properly seen is a better word. And behind those girls who are dancing in the round circle, rest of the area is also being lit up, which is properly seen. But these girls who are dancing in the around that lead actress are in a shadow. So how that he would have controlled the light in a situation like that, so that they remain in a shadow and the lead actress remain into the highlight. So you could choose any of the sequence. So maybe if that kind of a sequence is being played, and if you are being asked to notice, I hope you should be able to answer these kind of a technical thing, though it is not technical in terms of the depth of focus or depth of field, but it was more about the observation of a visual, which is how the rest of the actresses are into the shadow and the lead one is in the. So certain things are sometimes obvious, certain things are not obvious. As I said, in case of Knife in the Water, the sequence is not. I watched that film 3 times on the big screen in the first year, second year, and third year. I was not able to notice that in the first, second year. Only in the third year, when I saw that film again, I was able to notice it. Doesn't mean that first year you was a fool, but yes, sometime it happened that you may not pay attention to those kind of a thing. When you start growing and you pay more attention later on, when you become more mature about noticing certain things. So it is observation. What I'm trying to highlight the point is the observation. What are your observation about any kind of visual which will be shown to you? It could be a painting, it could be a photograph, it could be, most probably they will show a sequence and then they will ask you to write down your observation and send it to them. Let's say, for example, if I play it now, if it is 10:40, so if I play the sequence for 3 minutes, and then I'll say everybody would within 10 minutes time write down your observation in a Word file and send it within 10 minutes time. So when I say 10:40, it means 10:50 you should be able to write it down within 10 minutes, and then within 10 minutes time you should be able to send it back to you. Now all these excuses are nonsense. You will say, sir, मेरा तो internet चला गया और मेरा ये हो गया वो हो गया. Now yesterday I had a problem when I was talking to you people. So for today I played safe, because if the electricity goes, I have a mobile phone in which simultaneously it is going on, and I have made myself as with another net as a co-host. So something like that happens, I should still be able to continue over there. So as I said that, just give me a moment. Okay. So a stipulated time of 10 minutes or 15 minutes could be given to you. Show a photograph, show a painting, show a, and remember, famous painting, people knows it. Okay, so you should be able to quickly Google it, and maybe somewhere you will cut and paste, they will find out. It's very easy to figure it out. The text, there is a plagiarism, there are certain sites, they can copy and paste it over there and come to know from where you have done the copy paste. So try to use your original thoughts in order to describe them, and one should be able to figure it out. Even if your English is not perfect, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not English language literature test, okay, where the grammatically you have to be perfect. No. What you're trying to say is more important than your perfection in your description. So what you intend to say, they should be able to understand that. So that's one thing. Technical question, as I said, some question could be directly asked, some question could be asked indirectly. As I just asked a question connected with the depth of focus, I ask indirectly what is happening over there in the opening sequence of Knife in the Water. There is a direct question I could have asked about that, but no, I'm asking indirectly. I'm asking you to observe what is happening over there. And if you're able to observe that, you should be able to answer, technical answer, how the cinematographer would have executed that. That's a technical understanding, that if you understand that technical thing, then you should be able to answer. If you don't understand, and as I said, to answer that question, your basic of photography is required to be clear, not the cinematography. So there's a lot of difference between that. So if you understand the photography properly, you would be able to answer it. If you don't understand, then you will not be able to. So that's one thing. Okay, another question which I'm indirectly asking you, that in the market, when you wanted to change the color temperature, let's say, for example, if you're shooting in the daylight, and if there's a daylight, and if your film is balanced for tungsten, you use a particular filter. Okay. Now there are two kinds of filter. One is 85 and another is a 80B. 80B is a blue kind of filter, and 85 is a orangish filter. So they will convert the color temperature. So suppose you have a daylight, suppose you have a tungsten light inside the auditorium. If you are shooting a dance performance and you wanted to have a correct skin tone, so to convert that, you will put the filter called 80B. Am I right? Which is blue color. Am I right or wrong? 28 people, anybody can answer. If there's a performance happening inside the auditorium and it is being lit with a tungsten light, and if you wanted to have the correct skin tone, I put the 80B filter so that yellow will be cancelled with the blue. Okay.
So white balance किस चीज का है? मतलब what has we
Oh.
set it?
I'm saying that forget about the white balance right now. I'm talking about 20 years back when you used to have a SLR camera and you had the negative. Negative is balanced for if your film is balanced for daylight, and if the film is in the stage is being lit with the tungsten light. So if I wanted to have a correct skin tone, what I'm going to do is I will put my 80B filter, which is of blue nature, so that the yellow will get cancelled with the blue and I will get the correct skin tone. That used to be the process. Okay. So this is one way. Now you think in another way. Another in the sense, suppose you are outside. Outside is a daylight and your film is balanced for tungsten. Very often in the cinematography, when you shoot with a 35 negative, very often it will happen that you are shooting inside and you have a picture negative which is balanced for the tungsten. And your light is also lit up for the tungsten, so it is matched, is fine. Now you go out with your motion picture camera, but your film is tungsten inside and light outside is daylight. So if that is the situation, what you will do is other way around. So what you're going to do is you will put the 85 filter, orange filter, to cut down the bluish of the daylight so that your skin tone will be balanced with the picture negative. Okay. But if the light is too much outside, then what you use is ND filter. So ND3, ND6, ND9. There are three normally range available: ND3, ND6, and ND9. So my first question is, what is ND6? Why it is called 6 and not 5 or 7?
It's in a multiple of 0.3, na sir. 0.3, 0.6, 0.9.
Okay. So why 0.3? Why not 0.2 or 0.4? If you go to silence, it means you are still calculating and trying to figure it out.
It cuts down one stop of light.
Oh, that I know. But my question is, why 0.3? Why not 0.4 or why not 0.2? So again, Today, go and
It may be the
say again.
it will. I'm just trying, sir. It will be the length or thickness of that filter.
If you have clearly read about this filter called ND filter, then it will take fraction of a second. And if you have not understood it carefully, then you will try to figure it out. Today, go to the Wikipedia page and understand this neutral density filter. Then you will understand clearly why it is 0.3 and why not 0.4 and 0.2. Okay. So my question is something else. This is the first step of the question, question number 2. After this, I will ask a question. So in the market, what happens is that there is an 85 filter and then there's an ND3. If you wanted to cut down one stop, ND3. If you want to cut down two stop, ND6. We say it is a 6, but actually it is a 0.6. In a day-to-day language, we use the word 6, not 0.6. Like USA, we don't say USA, we say US. US stand for USA. So similarly, when we say ND6, it means 0.6. When we say ND9, it means 0.9. So ND3, ND6, ND9. So and we put the 85 filter first and we put the ND6 filter. Both the filter will put together if we wanted to cut additionally the light of 2 stop. If I wanted to cut the 3 stop, then I will use the ND9 along with my 85 filter outside. If inside my magazine of the camera, there is a tungsten balance film and I'm shooting outside. Okay. So again, it is connected with the same principle. So in the market, you get a 85 clear 85 filter, then you get ND3, ND6 only, and you get ND9 only. Okay. But there is another kind of filter which comes mixed with the ND3, ND6, ND9 along with 85. Along with 85, there is another kind of filter which comes 85 and ND3, 85 ND6, and 85 ND9 mixed together. So why as a cinematographer you will prefer to use mixed filter rather than two different filters? This is my next question. If I need to cut down one stop light and you are shooting outdoor, your film is balanced for tungsten balance and the light outdoor is daylight, and I want to cut down one stop, I would use 85 mixed with the ND3. So why people will prefer mixed filter rather than using two different filter? One is 85, another is ND3. I can use both of them over there and it will serve the same purpose which 85 mixed with ND3 would serve. So why people would prefer a mixed filter over the two different filters which will serve the same purpose?
Sir, to reduce the
Aberration,
yes, sir.
Aberration of what?
light.
You're close, but exact answer is if I use two different filters, then the thickness of two filter would be much more higher comparative to the one if I'm using a one filter. So more the thickness of the, even if it is optically corrected lens, more the thickness is there, the image would become relatively unsharp than using a single filter because of the thickness of two different filters. Okay. So it is a question of sharpness. If you want a more sharpness, then you will prefer to use a one filter over the two filter. So that's one. Now my difficult question is, this is a little difficult now. In the market, you get 85 N3, you get 85 N6, you get 85 N9 mixed together. And you get separately 85 filter. You also get ND3 separately, ND6 separately, ND9. But you do not get 80B combined with ND3, 80B combined with ND6, 80B combined with ND9. Why? This is a question which I really wanted to ask. So far, I was just building up. This is my question. So who would like to answer? 28 students are sitting over here. Rest of the people think they knows everything.
Sir, ATB is color filter, na?
Yes. And
Sir,
the blue
अगर
color, opposite of 85, it is opposite of 85. 85 is used when your film is balanced for tungsten, light is daylight. 80B is used when your film is balanced for daylight and lit up part is by the tungsten light. Like inside the studio, you light up normally by the tungsten. Stage performance, lit by tungsten light. So my question is, the way 85 comes mixed with ND3, mixed with ND6, ND with 9, but the similar kind of filter do not come with ATB, ND3, ATB, ND6, ATB, ND9. This kind of filter do not comes in the market. Why? Again, it is a photography question, right? We are talking about the color temperature. We are talking about ND filter.
the ND filter controls the light, but
That we know.
yes, and the color filter.
That does the color
एनडी
correction.
किसी भी फिल्टर, हाँ यस यस सर, अगर एनडी फिल्टर को अगर उसके कलर के साथ में कर दिया जाएगा तो हम किसी भी उसके साथ लगाएंगे तो मतलब कलर उसके साथ में ही रहेगा, मतलब एनडी जो लाइट कंट्रोल करेगा बट वो एक कलर के साथ में देगा, बट अगर एनडी और वो अलग रहेगा.
But along with 85, it comes in a mixed also. 85 and ND3 put together become 85 and 3. 85 filter and ND6 put together into one filter, it is available. Then there's a third kind of filter, 85 mixed with ND9 in a one simple filter, one single filter. Not separately. Separately is also available, but it also comes in a combined manner. But such kind of combined filters are not come with the 85. Oh, sorry, ATB. The way it is available in the 85, it should also be available in 80B, 80B and 3, 80B and 6, 80B and 9. Such kind of filter don't exist in the market. Why?
So maybe because the ND filter is always used when you are outside and you have more than enough light.
Correct.
And when you
Because it is not required. When you are shooting inside, you are playing with a very low level of light comparatively. Inside, when you're shooting inside the studio, you're shooting with f2 or f2.8. That's it, because the light level is so low. So when the light level is so low, why I would put the bloody ND filter? It's not required. Nobody uses the ND filter inside the studio. So it is not required because the light level is so low. We don't need to cut down the light. We only need to cut down the light outdoor, not inside the studio. Are you getting my point? So sometime you have to apply your brain. Sometime you have to apply your brain, and that's what FTII is checking about, or SRFTI. Are you able to apply your mind? Is it not a rocket science? It is not a circuit diagram. It is not a motherboard or a processor. Understanding of motherboard is required. It is a common sense that inside, when you're shooting inside, you're shooting at f2, f2.8 normally, when it is being lit up by tungsten light. That's why if you're shooting a performance in those days, you look for not 100 ASA film, you look for 400 ASA film, you look for 800 ASA film. And then not only 800 ASA will give you the NF 2.8, sometimes light level is so low. So what you do is you underexpose and over process. So 800 ASA, you rate it as a 1600 and then go for the pushing of the process. That's those people who understand that pushing and pulling, they will understand what I'm talking about. Today is not required. That's why the history of cinematography, history of photography is very important for all of you to understand. So that many a times certain complexities are involved, you should be able to solve them. So the answer is very simple, because light level is so low that it is not required. So if something is not required, why a company will manufacture it? Answer is like that. But if you not apply your mind and think that the light level, if you check with the exposure meter, how much foot candle it is there, or if you convert into the aperture, it will become 2 or 2.8 only. But outdoor, you get 11, 16, 32, 22. I have seen many a times when the sun is too bright, you get an exposure of 32. You don't have a 32 exposure. So what you do is you cut down the one stop or two stop so that your aperture will come at f8 or f11. So these are the technical things which is connected with the common sense. Okay. There are certain things which is connected to the common sense, but behind that sometime a technical understanding is also required. Okay. So I'm coming again to certain, this is a mock session happening. Something like that can also happen. My criteria is always difficult. If you can answer a difficult questions, simple question every Tom, Dick and Harry can ask. If I ask a simple question, what are the three important parameters the depth of field will depend? You will quickly say aperture. You will say distance between the camera and the subject. And third is focal length. Everybody can answer this question, I'm sure. But the moment I make it more complicated with the depth, not depth of field, but depth of focus, and not directly asking depth of focus, but indirectly asking the application of depth of focus, then you are stuck. Then you're looking at the wall. So direct and indirect, there are two ways to ask the question. Difficulty level, they would increase. If a person like me is sitting over there, and there are people who are sitting over there, they all are much more technically alert and aware. And today technology is too much. I have not really got into the technology with you people, otherwise you will be baffled, because today, earlier there used to be 2 buttons in the camera. Today there are 200 buttons inside the camera. 200 buttons. Read the operation manual of Alexa, Red, or any camera, you will figure it out. 200 buttons, maybe more. So things are becoming more and more complex. Technology has really taken over. And if you're not techno savvy, then I'm sorry. Gone are the days when you are confident about your lighting and you're done. Today, beside the lighting, you need to understand the technology which is riding over the camera. Camera is small today. Body of the camera is so small. Look at the body of the Red camera. It is very small. But then there's a big lens. Then there's a backside. There is this. There is this. Then there is monitor. Then there is something else. Then there's a Wi-Fi over there. Holy Land kind of people who are transmitting the image to the monitor. Somebody is sitting 500 feet away. So technology has become much and much more powerful, particularly in the grading. And then later on, projection. Earlier, projection was very simple, negative, positive. But today, the Barco, Christie, these are the companies which are manufacturing the high-end cinema projectors. These are the two companies, Barco and Christie. Remember it, they might ask you, which are the companies who manufacture the projection? So Barco and Christie. Christie is much more expensive than Barco, but both are equally good. So anything which is direct and indirect. So I'm again coming to some other few questions randomly I'm thinking of. So you used to have a, which today also when we say DSLR camera, the similar mechanism still exists. There is a mirror inside. Mirror will bounce the image and the pentaprism will form the image. And then today, since there is a sensor, so we can see it easily. So my question is, there's a mirror, single lens reflex camera. There is a mirror. So what is the difference between the mirror which you use at home and the mirror which is used inside the camera? Both are the mirrors. What is the difference?
So they are concave and convex lenses, sir.
No. It is a mirror, plain mirror, which you use at home, and the plain mirror which is used inside the camera also, which reflect the image, and then mirror will flip and then image will be formed earlier. Today, the similar mechanism is there. Only difference is the picture negative is being replaced by the sensor. So difference between the mirror which you use at home and mirror which you use inside the camera. So people can write down in that chat box. That will be much more easier. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 28 people are here. How many you are able to crack it? Very simple question. No technology involved into it. No frequency and this and that. It is manufactured by a specialized optics. It's very beating around the bush, man. A very diplomatic answer. Lalu Prasad Yadav would give this answer. A cinematographer will not give this answer. It is manufactured by a specialized optics. Means it has to be optically corrected mirror. Yes. When you say optically corrected mirror, it means it will not give the distortion. Okay, point one. Mirror at home could be cheaper mirror. It may not be optically corrected, right? So the mirror which is used inside the camera is optically corrected. Okay. Point number one. It is very thin. Point number two. Yes, it is thin. Point number three, most important. These are two important points. I'm not saying they are not important. But why it is thin, by the way? Anybody would like to say? Thin has more chances to break it. If the mirror is thin, it might break because it flips up and it hits on the top and then come back. Because it has to flip in DSLR. That's what I'm saying. If it has to flip, yes, that's one. But if it has to flip, then it should be more thick, right? So that it should not break. If it is a little more thicker, then it should not break. The chances of getting break is much more higher if it is thin. So from that logic, it should be thicker one rather than thin. So why it is thin? Because it has to flip, yes, that's one reason. But even if it is a little bit heavy, it will still flip. It will still be able to flip. So why it is made thin?
Sir, is it because of the coating?
Because of the
Coating of the
coating. Thickness and coating has nothing to do with each other. Okay. Even if the mirror is thick, the coating will happen. If the mirror is thin, the coating will happen. Coating will not create a problem in the flip thing. Flipping would happen whether it's a thin or thick. Coating would still be there. The mirror is thin so that it does not absorb too much light. Mirror cannot. Gentlemen, please try to understand. Mirror would reflect 100% of the light almost. Between 99 to 100% of the light mirror would reflect. Too much of light, most of it is reflected back to the pentaprism. Mirror in general would reflect almost 100%. I'm saying almost 100%, not always. The reason is flip actually, but there is one more reason. More the thickness is there of the mirror. Now, I'm coming to the most important point. Most important point is the mirror which is used inside the house for combing or looking at your face has a coating at the back side of the glass. But the mirror which is used in the DSLR camera has a coating on the top surface of the mirror. And that is why, and that's where this thickness comes into the picture. Because inside, when the mirror which is used at home, the light will first hit the top surface and then penetrate through the thickness, and then image will be formed because the coating at the back side. Of course, the image is virtual image. Here is also image is being, the light do not enter at the back surface of the thickness of the mirror. It gets reflected from the top surface only, and hence the coating of the mirror is done at the top surface so that optical incorrection would not penetrate into it if the coating is done at the back side. So to avoid the imperfection in the image, the mirror is done top coating. That's why it is said many a times, you may not have noticed, that don't clean the mirror with your some brush or something like that by touching it, because the coating may be wiped off because it is on the front mirror. But the mirror which is used inside the house has a coating at the back side. So even if you clean it with a rough kapda or whatever, it doesn't matter. So it is the optical correction required in the image which is going to be seen in the pentaprism, through the pentaprism on the ground glass, or today which is electronic sensor. The image should be perfect, and to avoid the imperfection, the thickness is kept minimum A, and the coating on that is kept on the front surface, not at the back side. So this was the basic answer. So I can keep going on and on and on, but I would like you to ask certain thing. We have 1 hour over here. So something which look very simple. You may not have ever bothered about it. अरे DSLR कैमरा एक मिरर होता है, मिरर से इमेज ऊपर जाती है और वहां से वहां देख लेते हैं, हो जाता है बस. हो जाता है बस से काम नहीं चलेगा. They will look into your understanding. Again and again, I am saying, your technical understanding and your understanding about the aesthetic. Both. It goes together. Technical and aesthetic. And then combined together would be the final image, whether it is a photography, whether it is a cinematography. Cinematography has many more problems. Photography is comparatively easy than the cinematography, because cinematography, the motion starts. And the moment motion starts, your light will be seen, and so many problems comes into it. That's why it's much more. Anybody who's a photographer, if he thinks that he can be a cinematographer, it's a little difficult. Though people tried, Subroto Mitra never was a cinematographer before he attempted, but then you learn on the job, you know. So ask the question, that would be a good idea, rather than me keep talking. It's not a lecture class, it's a class about how to crack the orientation. So everything is clear to everybody, I suppose. That's why you don't have a question.
Sir, they have asked us to prepare a portfolio and they have asked us to give 5 pictures.
Okay,
So
they've already sent a mail in which something like that is being asked.
Yes, sir. They have given a PDF and it has a schedule and it has requirements what they want.
Okay, so what exactly is written in this email?
Sir, they have asked us to prepare a portfolio, which is not mandatory.
Prepare a portfolio. Okay.
And you can send 5
You are
pictures.
for 3 years or you are for 1 year?
1 year, sir.
1 year. Okay, so similar, somebody who's from 3 year, I know some of you are from 3 year. Do the 3-year student have also received the similar mail? Anybody?
No,
Yeah.
sir.
3-year people have not received the mail like that so far. Okay, so can you please forward me who was talking right now? Arnav?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Arnav, can you also forward that mail to me so that I will read it correctly, what exactly they are looking at it?
Okay,
But still, I would say that just say what you have understood they are asking so that I can answer it immediately.
So they want a portfolio, which is not mandatory, but they have asked us to give 5 stills.
Okay.
And you can give a video link as well.
Video link, okay.
So I was asking, what should I keep in mind while sending those images?
Correct. See, when you take a photograph, there are certain things. Let's say, for example, if you give me 2 photographs, okay, one shot by a professional who understands photography, and one shot by somebody who is just randomly picked up the camera and clicked the picture, maybe through a mobile. It doesn't matter. Even a professional, when shoot through a mobile, he will frame it correctly. He will look into the composition, he will look into the light, whether the person is in the shadow or highlight. If somebody is standing in the shadow, if you want him to be in the highlight, you will ask him to come forward. You will organize your shot. Or even if it is a click the moment, capture the moment, you will still see compositionally and then click it. So your photograph should reflect that quality of professionalism. Quality who understand photography. Whether it is a low angle shot, whether it is a top angle shot, whether it is a eye level shot, or whether it is, now these are terms which are used as a part of the composition. So when you take any photograph, for that matter, there should be something called wow. Okay, it should not be just a ordinary photograph. Now, how to bring that wow thing, distinguish a professional photographer than somebody who is a novice. So when they're talking about 5 stills, they really want to understand your understanding of photography in terms of composition, in terms of colors, in terms of capture the moment, in terms of anything. Okay. So thank you very much. Somebody has loaded the PDF over Rohit Madhavan. So I'll read it more carefully because sometimes there are certain tricks into that. You may skip it. So that was the reason to ask this. So my point is that your photograph should be reflecting something interesting in terms of content of the photograph, okay, in terms of composition, in terms of lights, in terms of angle, in terms of certain abstract kind of a thing. Now, what is this abstraction nonsense I'm talking about? When I say the photograph should have a rhythm. Now, rhythm is something which you cannot define as such. Rules of third is easy. Okay, here, divide, subject has to be there, looking space, head space, etc., etc. But when we talk about these abstract concepts like rhythm or balance and subject of these terms like this, so if your photograph has something like that, or harmony for that matter, harmony could be about the element within the frame, or harmony could be about the color scheme, harmony could be in any other form. So these abstraction, they might, I'm coming to the real thing now, slowly, that during the time of orientation, right now they have given you a liberty. Okay, pick up any 5 photographs which represent best of you, and that's it. Now there would be somebody like Samiran Datta. He is the head of the department in SRFTI. He is little complicated man. Nice human being, but his concept, ideas are more toward the abstraction. He might ask you to shoot a photograph which has a balance or rhythm or some abstract topic like this. Let's say, for example, out of focus. Aesthetic of out of focus is also there. And now you will say, what is the aesthetic in having an out of focus photograph? There is. At some day you will agree with me that there is an aesthetic of out of focus. Why people have the out of focus? Very deliberately, very consciously kept in motion picture also. Okay. So if they will ask you to choose a topic, let's say balance, for example, then you need to figure out a photograph in which there should be a balance. And there could be other things also, but the balance has to be there. So the photograph in which balance would be there. So when the assignment would be given to you, they would ask, they may, most probably I would say they have done it in the past. They may choose this topic, balance, rhythm, harmony, which are very abstract in their own way. And also couple with something else. For example, and eye level shot. The shot has to be eye level. The shot could be low level, ground level. Shot could be low angle. They say low angle, along with harmony. Low angle along with, let's say, balance. So they might make it more complex for you. Pick up this element, pick up that element also. And now you will be little laughing at me. Say color. Color and low level. The photograph should have a prominent color and low level. Now you search for the photograph in which color would be very prominent. At the same time, it should fit into an idea of low level. Both has to be there. So they can pick up 2 elements and ask you to shoot a photograph. That's one thing. Here, as of today, you can pick up any 5 photograph which has compositional qualities, which may have captured the moment. Sometimes you see a photograph, I've seen certain photograph, a lady is going on and she's having some up there, some tokri kind of a thing, and the back side there is a Taj Mahal and you see she's carrying a Taj Mahal. It's a false perspective. Use the word false perspective. So this is a good idea now. This word came up. They might ask you to click 2 photographs where there is a false perspective. Now, first you need to understand what, of course, you will have a time, because they will not say within a half an hour do this. They will give you enough time. They will say, okay, today after 4 o'clock when the class get over, you have a 1 hour time. Go out, use a mobile phone if you don't have a DSLR camera, and click 2 good photographs which has a false perspective. So now you can organize those photographs also, provided you understand false perspective, or you may look for a situation where you could create that false perspective. Long back, many years back, why I'm quoting this is, sometime unconsciously you do that without knowing what exactly this photograph would fit into it. So then Delhi, there used to be a balloon festival, early morning, 6 o'clock it will start at the Safdarjung airport. And I was doing my still photography days. Many years back, somebody told me there is a very interesting, colorful balloons are there and you will get this. So I spoke to somebody in then Times of India that I wanted to shoot this. Would you be interested in carrying the pictures? They said, yes, shoot it. Then let me see. So among various photographs which I shot, there was one photograph in which there was a false perspective was involved into it, which means something in the foreground was prominent, though it was a wide angle shot, and in the background, on the back of it, long, almost like a 1 kilometer away, there was equal size balloon which was on the top of it. So it was like a piggy riding over this balloon. The bigger balloon which was in the foreground, and another balloon which was of more or less similar size, but quite almost 1 kilometer away. That's why the size becomes smaller. So it looked like this small balloon piggy riding over the bigger balloon. So I took those transparency. They were the transparency days, and transparency was preferred because of high resolution. So I took all my transparencies, and this guy who was from this children, somebody said that Bal Bhavan also come out with a magazine and you show it to them, they might be interested in buying it. So I took all those 30, 40 transparencies and gave it to the editor. Somehow I managed to meet the editor, and he looked all those transparencies and selected the one which has a false perspective of this piggy riding over the balloon. So he asked me this question after choosing it. He said, why did I selected this? So I said it looked like at this little, I could not define it by using a technical word, false perspective, but I said this small balloon looked like is riding over the bigger balloon. So they can choose any particular topic and give it to you and shoot the photograph under that. Okay. But beside that, since it is a course of motion picture photography, they might ask you to shoot a couple of shots, put them, edit them in the camera itself. When you're shooting shot number 1, then what exactly is going to be next, because some of you may not be able to edit. So we call it as a edit in the camera, that you shoot first image, that motion picture shot, video shot, and then second, what it should be in a chronological order, then the third in a chronological order. And similarly, it may not be a perfect edit, but they will give you a situation. Let's say, for example, if you go from here to your market to buy something from a shop, one person hello. Can you hear me now? There's a disconnection in the main setup. Can you hear me? Guys,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. Let me Anyway, can you hear me with this one? We can continue with this. Hello, guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay. So again, I know this will happen today. So what I'm trying to say is, let me just fix it first. Okay, fine. So what I'm trying to say is that it may happen that particular topic would be given to you and the video need to be short and put it together so that you should be able to compile them and send it across to them. But as of today, they have also asked you the video link. So what I would suggest is, if you have shot a short film which is not a link, which is not more than, I would say, 10 minutes, you can still send it the YouTube link of that. But if you do not have anything like that, so I would suggest that go images and compile them randomly, which could show your sense of composition, sense of your lighting, sense of your framing. That is primarily the purpose. But if that is not going to happen, it's fine. If you do not have a portfolio as of today, it's okay. The still photographic composition would be equally valid and good enough. It will not give you any lesser marks than someone who will send a video link. But today, because many times, or most of our mobile phone has the video facility, and many times people shoot video reels and things like that. So if you could do that, it's good. If not, then it's equally good. So portfolio is something which is important. But if you don't have a portfolio and for some reason you have not shot a short film also, I would say it is not a problem. You could still manage with the still photograph. But yes, still portfolio photograph, everybody has a mobile phone, I'm sure, and everybody has some understanding of photography or not, because otherwise you would not have qualified the written exam. Written exam, only those people can qualify who has a technical understanding. So it is believed that you would be able to shoot with your mobile phone, and that's what they're looking at it. So primarily, as I said, any 5 images, if you have not shot so far, I hope you will already have. Choose them meticulously, choose them carefully. You can seek a help of any of your friend also who has a much more experience in photography, so that sometime you may not be able to understand why this photograph is good. A second opinion of selection would be appreciated, because it is not a cheating. They are not saying that pick up pictures of others. They are still your photograph. Only thing is that you are seeking a help of someone to figure it out, which are the 5 photographs you should be able to choose. And if you have your own understanding, nothing like that, and that is what they are looking at it. So you can choose the portfolio, but yes, still portfolio, if you're not going to send it, then you are going to lose the marks. That is my answer. Anybody else who wanted to ask something? Can you hear me, guys?
Sir,
Excuse me, sir.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Sir, I wanted to ask how we should introduce ourselves in the orientation, like while introducing.
Introduce yourself. Yes. Very good question. See, I normally, in a situation like this, I prefer to use minimum time. In the sense, let's say, for example, if you ask me to introduce myself in a 10 sentences, what I am going to do? Okay, you have given a restriction of 10 sentences. So I would introduce myself like this. My name is Naresh Sharma. I did my graduation in science. Then I did a basic photography course from Triveni Kala Sangam under Mr. O.P. Sharma. Simultaneously, I was doing still photography while doing my course also. And then my work is being published in a magazine like India Perspective, Times of India, Navbharat Times. These are the two major places where my work got published. And I am looking forward to build my career in cinematography. This is in brief introduction about me. So I have said my qualification, my city from my basic photography course. But the moment I said that I did a still photography course from Triveni Kala Sangam under Mr. O.P. Sharma, it means I have raised their level of expectation from me. But today, even if you have not done any course from anywhere, everybody is expected to do a unpaid course from YouTube. There's so many videos on photography, cinematography. So even if you have not done a formal course from somewhere, you are expected that you would have done a free course from YouTube. It is expected because internet is there everywhere. So introduction means the most important thing. Now, if I introduce after 25 years, let's say, for example, I've been in the industry for 25 years or 30 years, how I would introduce into, let's say, for example, if I'm being invited to do a cinematography workshop somewhere for the school children's which are in the 12th standard. So how I would introduce myself? If you ask me this question, I would say I did my still photography from Triveni Kala Sangam before I went to FTII Pune. I did 3-year course from 91 to 93. Then I worked in the industry as a cinematographer for 12 years. And then I shifted my base to Delhi to set up this film school called Craft. And then for last 18 years, I'm running this institution. 5 years back, I realized, 12 years back, I realized that there is no magazine existing on the cinematography. So we came out with a publication, quarterly publication called Cinematography Art, which has a 5,000 copies run, print run, and it goes to most important cinematographer as well as production houses, producers, directors. For 18 years, we are running this film school by the name called Craft. Realizing that 4 years back, there is no FTII, is more or less also kind of a film studies student who prepare for that. There is no syllabus exist for this entrance exam, very strangely. And we thought, let's introduce a FTII coaching program to the students. So first time, we had a classroom coaching for 20 days. Next time, we made it online because it was not feasible, etc. So this is brief about me. Now, this is the introduction A. I could also introduce a little longer one. So what I do is that I have written down what I just spoke, okay, more or less. So there's an introduction into 5 lines. There's an introduction into 10 lines. And then there's a full-fledged CV running into the 4 pages. So where people need to know my CV, they will go through the entire CV. But sometimes there is some conference or something else is there where they would like to introduce me into the 5 lines. I give them those 5 lines. So as you ask this question, so I would say, write down 5 lines about yourself and just read it out over there. That's it. To the point and be brief. Introduce yourself into the 5 lines. That's it. And in 5 lines, whatever is the most important thing about you, suppose you studied in St. Stephen and you think being a graduate from St. Stephen would give them a little more hype. Yes, say that I studied my BSc from St. Stephen College in Delhi, if it is a prestigious thing. If you say I studied in Hindu College, so you could say I did my graduation from Hindu College in Delhi University, if it is prestigious. But if you studied some XYZ college, let's say, for example, Dayal Singh College. So Dayal Singh doesn't carry much weight. If you say some Shamlal College, Shamlal, Dayal Singh, it doesn't have any value, you know. But if it is a prestigious like Hindus and Stephen, then you can mention about that. But if it is just some XYZ college, doesn't matter. It gives little value. If you say from Hindu college or if you are a graduate from St. Stephen, yes, it has a little value. But if it is some XYZ college, then don't mention that. Just simply say that I did my BSc from Delhi University. You hide that fact. So, but you are still saying you are a science graduate. So science graduate doesn't have a preference over others, but it says that you have a better understanding than other people about the lenses and because you are from scientific background. So your inclination will be much more than somebody who's a BA or political science. Yesterday, somebody sent me an email, a very interesting question this girl has asked. Sir, I have done my BA Political Science. And if they ask my political views about something, how should I frame it? Because I did my specialization in political science. But political views can be from anyone, not necessarily from political science graduate. So briefly write down 5 sentences which you think are the most important thing about you, and then read them out. As simple as that. That is my answer. Because it can be pre-prepared, something which can be prepared before. You should prepare it now because you still have a time. Portfolio, you still have a time. Introduction about yourself, 5 lines. That's it. But if suppose you got some important award for your photography, let's say for example some national award competition, which is very, very prestigious. Maybe some ministry organized a competition and you won the first prize or second prize. Yes, do mention it. If it is worth mentioning. If it is just some college competition or something like that, doesn't matter. Those 5 pictures would speak for itself even if they have not got any award. Because the 5 photographs would give them a sense of your composition, sense of your understanding of photography, sense of many things. Many things means many things. Without you being speaking, but yes, sometimes what happens, people do cheating. They download from here and there and then they put them over there. They will figure it out. Because they will ask you some question related to that portfolio. That is important. If you download from the internet from somewhere and you put those 5 pictures over there, and if you are not able to answer satisfactory to them, then you are stuck. Then you are cheating. But if you could answer, even if it is not your photograph, and they are not able to figure it out from where you have downloaded, it's okay. But I would say that prefer those pictures which you have shot. Particularly if you have shot with a lighting. If you have done some kind of a lighting of the pack shot, for example. If you have practiced that kind of a thing, that will give a little more edge over the outdoor photograph. But yes, even if it is outdoor, if it is not lit up inside the studio or something like that, it's okay. If it is a portrait done with a lighting inside the studio, better, because it shows your lighting sense also. Outdoor photograph will not give you the lighting sense because it is the nature who is doing the lighting. You're just capturing at the right moment. But inside the studio, your lighting sense is being judged by them, that this is, if it is earlier when you were physically going over there, believe me, it is a statement by the student that you would be taken inside the studio and would be given the multi-10 or baby light and would ask to shoot something in that lighting. So if you have not practiced it earlier and you don't know where is the button and all that, so it was little difficult for you. But certain people who had that practice kind of a thing, whether they assisted someone or whether they have done some kind of practical training, it was much easier for them to lit up. So capability to light up is also something they are looking at it. Even if it is a basic lighting of key fill backlight, etc., they are expecting that your lighting sense has to be there if it is there, because it is a basic lighting, key fill backlight, etc. It could just have a key only, it could just have a backlit only, it could be anything. So some lighting sense is also required, but at the same time they are intelligent enough to understand while talking to you that why it is done like this. Let's say, for example, I'll just quickly ask any of you, you could answer it now. When you light up inside the studio, for example, how do you go about it? It's completely dark. What is your process to light up? Anybody can answer. Anybody can unmute himself or herself and can answer this question.
The first 3-point lighting.
Okay. How you do it?
Sir, first
is it important to do the 3-point lighting? Can it be just the key light only, or it has to be key fill backlight?
No, sir.
Why
It
key
can.
fill backlight is important? Let me ask this way.
सर की से भी कर सकते हैं, बट फॉर लाइक हमको स्पेस बनाना है या लाइक 3D डायमेंशनल दिखाना है, बैकग्राउंड से दूर दिखाना है, तो उसके लिए हमें डेप्थ अगर दिखाना है तो हम 3-point लाइटिंग करेंगे. बट की से भी हो सकता है इफ देयर इज अ मतलब हाई कॉन्ट्रास्ट फोटो लेना है या ड्रामेटिक फोटोज लेना है,
Okay. So when you light up something, for example, there is something called relief in lighting. Anybody has a understanding what is a relief in lighting? When you light up some scene, for example, outdoor in the night, there is something called relief. What is that relief in a lighting? The element of relief. Okay. So, for example, if you light up in a night situation, outdoor, some street or something like that, how do you create a depth? That's a very, very important thing. How do you create a depth? So, to create a depth, that you different need to have a different levels. Something is called foreground, then something is called where exactly your action is happening, then you have a background. So how do you feel that in the night there is a depth? Because night everything is black, right? Then you start lighting it up, whether it is already naturally lit or whether you add those kind of a thing. So when you wanted to show a depth, how far off you can still perceive something is there. So very often you try to keep something out of focus, maybe at a distance of half a kilometer or a distance of 500 feet or 700 feet or 1000 feet away, where you can still perceive that there is something which is out of focus. You don't know what exactly it is, but it is some patch of light. Okay. So by having those kind of patch of light in the background, which could be some object and thing like that, so that could be considered as a relief. So relief is something which you see in the background, and that will give you a little, what I call it as a relief. So relief in lighting is important to create a depth. Okay. So this is what sometimes is required to ask. They might ask you a particular thing. Let's say, for example, aerial perspective. Now, today, when you go home after this session, think about what is aerial perspective. Like earlier, I said the false perspective. There's another kind of perspective called aerial perspective. So what are those elements which help you to understand and why aerial perspective is important? If it is, if the aerial perspective is there, how you can create it, those kind of thing could be checked. Okay. So it depends upon the assignment, what they give it to you. So angle could be one thing. All these abstract terms which I said, the balance, rhythm, harmony. I have a one PPT. Let me just figure it out. It was converted into a lecture also. I have collected various images from places here and there. And then at some point, I delivered a lecture on that particular topic. So I would say that you go and watch that particular video, and you will understand these abstract terms little better than just listening to me. So I will try to dig out that particular video and send it across to you. So that's the way it is. So they since now the studio is not there, they don't expect you to have a studio at your home. But yes, they do expect that you should be able to shoot with your mobile phone, whether it's still a video. So they could give you a situation in which they might ask you to go to the market, for example, and randomly, if you need to make a documentary on that particular market, let's say, for example, if you have everybody has a market in their area. So which are the 10 you will take in video, which will give the complete idea about what kind of market it is. So they might give an exercise like this. Okay. Let's say, for example, if there is a flower market, somewhere there could be a flower, like in Delhi, there are places where there's a flower market in the morning. There are vegetable markets where you just go and see only vegetables only. So they might give you a specific thing, that choose a particular important thing in your locality, which is interesting for you to shoot. And but sometimes the local market, the vegetable markets are daily, sometimes they are once in a week. So that becomes a problem. But it could be a random market, any market. Everybody has a place nearby where there will be a market. Or if some festival is going on. Let's say, for example, today was the 15th August. Okay. Now 15th August is being celebrated in a big way. But now they can't ask you 15th August because it's already gone. So had the orientation would have been on 14th of August, I would have given this assignment that on 15th August, choose certain images, shoot those images which represent the patriotism and 15th August feeling. Okay. So now 15th August, you can't say, "Arey, हमारे तो गांव में, हम तो गांव में बैठे हुए हैं, हमारे यहाँ 15th August है नहीं." All of you are in some city. Most of you, I would say. Maybe one person would be sitting in a village. But even if it is a village, what it could be. Okay. So anything which give that feeling. I remember a couple of years back, Sony came out with this idea to promote a particular model of the Sony. So they selected 4 film schools in Delhi. One was College of Arts, another was Asian Academy, one of Craft was there, and one more institution was there. So 4 institutions, they would give one camera to one student who will have a maximum liking on the Facebook about his image. So what was the idea was, you load those image, and the theme was 15th August feeling of patriotism. So people went to shoot on India Gate and couple of places here and there and all that. And one of the student who promoted his image, and he has more than 5,000 like or something like that. It was a girl student who got the camera of this 45,000 rupees bought. So sometime it can happen that there could be a specific occasion, and then they would ask you to do. Maybe Raksha Bandhan is coming up now, for example. If the orientation fall in those days, and they might ask you to shoot an image of Raksha Bandhan, for example, which represent best of the Raksha Bandhan, not the internet image, but image which could be shot by you. So it could be any assignment connected with video still. So if I'll sum up the entire discussion, what I discussed with you, there would be a technical discussion about any concept they feel that they should ask. There could be a discussion about a photograph, about a painting, about a sequence from a film, which they will show it to you, and they will ask you to write it down and send it to them. There might be a collectively shown to everybody that this is a sequence which everybody should be able to write on it. They might choose different sequences. They might have 5 sequences in their mind and will show you to different student a different sequence. So let's say, for example, 40 students are there. 10 students, they will show a one sequence. Another 10 students, they will show another sequence. Another 10 students, third sequence. Another 10 students, fourth sequence. So 4 different selection, so that, just to have a variety. Not that you will be doing the cheating, but nobody will help anybody who's your competitor. So it is as simple as that. So I suppose this, and assignment to be short and to be delivered to them. So that would be another way. And they already have asked of 5 still photograph and video portfolio. But as I said, that you can still shoot video, choose any random images, and which will give the idea of your sense of composition or sense of your lighting, sense of your camera movement also. There could be a mobile, phone can also have a camera movement. So all these things could be taken into the consideration. So this is in brief. From my side, we still have 15 minutes. If you still have a question, you can ask. Shrijan want to ask something.
Yes.
Shrijan, are you
Hello.
around? Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So I wanted to ask for the portfolio, for the video portfolio, say for example, if we have 2 short films which are both 10 minutes above, so
Okay.
matlab, should we make it like a showreel kind of a thing, or should we edit them to make them shorter?
Yes. I would say showreel. Pick up a music. This is a good idea. Pick up a music track, which is an interesting track of, let's say, for example, 1 minute. Okay. And then choose the best of the images, considering that you are going to make a trailer out of it, not from the interesting point of view, but the point of view of the shot taking. Because it is your cinematography portfolio.
So not the story, but the shots.
No. Nobody is bothered about the story. You are not a direction student.
Yeah.
Okay. You are a cinematography student. So they are more interested in your lighting sense, composition sense. So this is a very good question. Other people can also follow the same formula. Pick up an interesting track, depending upon what kind of story it is. If it is a fast shots, you have more of action sequence from the film, then pick up a track which is very fast and then edit that images over there and make a show reel of 1 minute, 5 minute or 10 minute film. Similarly, for another video, make a show reel of 1 minute and put both them together. 1 minute and 1 minute put together so that it will become a one link. Okay, and do mention that is the 2 minutes of a duration. And don't give these bloody credits of though and so and so. No, 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 no. Your name, showreel of montage. Use the word montage. Don't use the word the showreel. Montage from a 10-minute film. Initial title for 2 seconds, and then for 1 minute, best of the shots from there, and then 1 minute will be like this, and 1 minute will be from another thing. 2 minute is enough duration to give your sense of lighting, sense of composition. But I would, if I have done 2-3 films, I would prefer shots which are very slow in nature, which will stay over there. That's also very important. There's a Bengali film called Dostoji. You must see it if you have not seen it so far. And if some Bengalis are here, I'm sure they would have seen this film. I interviewed that fellow, and he was a still photographer, not a cinematographer. He did the cinematography for that film. But he has a wonderful sense of composition, very slow shot taking in terms of the takes, not too much of a camera movement, etc. So prefer those shots which has a lesser camera movements, very slow camera movements, which will give you a sense of composition, which will give you a sense of lighting, rather than very action-oriented shots. Action-oriented shots are more of action rather than your, I would say, lighting and composition. Of course, that also need lighting and composition, but depend upon what kind of work you have done. So this is a good idea to compile it in a 2 minute and do it. Somebody else wanted to also raise their hand.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sunil here.
Yeah,
Sir, actually, I just joined around 11 o'clock. Is there any videos or recording something so that you can
yes,
share
it
with
should be
us?
on a cloud, because yesterday also I faced the same problem, and today also, just to play safer, I had this mobile phone, though not the best way to do the class, but still we could continue. And I hope on the cloud it should be recorded, because here it got disconnected. So if it is recorded on the cloud, then we should be able to share with you.
Okay, so the one more thing, I did production design from FTII. So
okay,
they were
what's your
asking
name?
ki, I'm Sunil Kumar.
Okay, yeah, Sunil.
Yeah, so they said ki you have to submit 5 pictures and some kind of a videos. Is it
Correct.
possible ki I can submit them my long take or dialogue or diplomas, I think. So,
So
as a
nobody is going to watch that long thing. Okay. So when they are saying video, it means in that video where you did the production design, you was not a cinematographer, you was an
yeah,
art director, right? So
yeah,
maybe a sense of design and sense of color scheme come from you. So you could
yeah.
choose certain shots from there,
Okay,
compile into a video, and mention that you did a production design for this particular diploma production.
okay, got it.
So chances, I'm warning you once again,
Yeah, sir.
chances for you would be relatively less. I'm trying to be very honest with you, because they would perceive, see, but they have given in the past certain, in my batch, there was a sound recording studio student who joined FTI after doing a 3-year course again for direction or something like that. So it's not
Yeah,
that they will be averse to a situation. Maybe while studying the production design, you realize that something which is much more important is the cinematography. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
But again, somebody might think that he wasted the 3 year. Now he wanted to waste another 1 year or 3 year for occupying a seat of a cinematography student. Why the hell he was not sure earlier when he came over here? But I know many people, they do cinematography and become director in the industry. There are people who do editing and become director in the industry. But you
Yeah,
still feel that, yeah.
many options are there. Like Hitchcock sir was a illustrator. Later he did
True.
something. Satyajit
Correct,
sir
correct,
did the same. Bansali sir
correct,
did the same. So it's not
correct,
there a
correct.
fixed formula.
Correct.
Yeah,
So you can choose, your answer is, to your question is, you can choose your diploma production, make it a 1 minute thing from the point of view of art director, so that your sense of color composition, sense of space, sense of design could be felt, and that should be good enough.
okay. Thank
From
you,
the
sir.
video point of view. Or for still,
Okay,
you
fine.
can, you must have shot some stills here and there,
Yeah,
and
I
you
have,
can,
sir.
if you have those still, it could be a production stills also, doesn't matter. Production still is also an art. Don't think production still of a feature film or a film is just a very casual phenomenon. No, it's a very, very specialized job. Very, very specialized job. And it has its own excitement. I love to shoot production still whenever there's a situation. So production stills is something very, very specialized.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot,
Okay,
sir. Thank you.
Shubham wanted to ask something.
सर मेरे को ये पूछना था कि जैसे अभी हम बात कर रहे थे तो आप बोल रहे थे हम फोन का भी यूज कर सकते हैं फॉर फोटोग्राफी कि
Correct.
कम से कम प्रैक्टिस के लिए। तो अगर वो
Correct.
हमको एक्टिविटी देते हैं ऐसी, तो फिर वहां पे वो फिर ऐसा पैरामीटर उनके पास मतलब, या फिर फॉर अ सेफर साइड कि वहां पे कैमरा से भी शूट करने वाले होंगे, यहाँ पे फोन से भी शूट करने वाले होंगे, तो एक इक्वेट के लिए।
नहीं फर्क पड़ेगा। देखिए क्या है, डीएसएलआर कैमरा और मोबाइल फोन कैमरा की इमेजेस जो है, DSLR is still DSLR because the lenses is the first important thing which formulate a image, capture the image. Okay, so lenses of a DSLR camera are much more superior than the iPhone even, I would say. Okay, even if they have best of the technology, because there are certain problems comes with the size of the lens and all that. Though they have a best of the lenses, but again there's a problem. So even if, but the kind of viewing which will happen, where they are going to view, they are not going to view on the large 35mm projection screen. They will be watching it on their monitor size is hardly anything. So image which is shot with a mobile phone and an image which is shot with a DSLR camera will have a difference, because the kind of depth of field you can create in a DSLR camera, you cannot create in the mobile phone. Even if you go for the tele, then the image become pixelated, etc., etc. So I would say that use the mobile phone in a wider sense, wide angle lens, and don't go into the tele mode until unless they are asking something like that. I have a feeling that they would not ask something like that, because they know many of the students will not have the DSLR camera. So use the mobile phone in a wide angle mode, and it will be as brilliant as a DSLR image. So don't worry from that point of view. They will not get an edge just because they shot on DSLR. No.
ओके और सर मेरा इसमें क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे वो हमारे साथ वीडियो का एक लिंक मांग रहे हैं, तो
Correct.
आई हैव असिस्टेड टू अ सिनेमेटोग्राफर इन अ प्रोडक्शन, तो क्या मैं उसका लिंक उनको दे सकता हूँ? वो एक्सेप्टेबल
I
होगा?
would say no, because you as an assistant was either doing the focus pulling or helping in the lighting. So it was not your lighting skill.
Okay.
You was an assistant to execute that, right? So it is the lighting scheme of the cinematographer. Though in your introduction, when you introduce yourself, you can say that I assisted so-and-so cinematographer. Okay? You can say that. But using his work to say that I was an assistant, you can mention in your introduction, but don't send that video link because it is not your work.
Okay, sir.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah,
5 minutes
sir.
more?
I just
Yeah, please.
I just want to ask you last thing. See, I did fine arts from College of Art in
College of
applied
Art,
art.
Delhi.
Yes, sir.
Delhi College of
So,
Art, ITO.
yeah, exactly, sir. Exactly.
Okay.
So can I show them my sketches, my drawing, or still portraits and all?
Yes. Portfolio means anything which you are good at. So being a BFA student, you are expected to have a good sense of drawing. You are expected to have a good sense of color composition and all that. So you could, or if you have done, say for example, watercolor painting, for example, I'm saying, or maybe any other kind of work. See, quantity is not important. Maybe just a 3 image of the painting or drawing or pencil drawing or anything which you think is best of you.
Yeah.
Particularly when you say College of Art, it means some selected people get selected over there. Some 10 or 20 seats are there. I don't know how many, but not more than 25, I suppose. So it's a prestigious institution, and then they expect much more from you. So you can't submit any Tom, Dick, and Harry kind of stuff, because you are from College of Arts. So it means even if it is some weird College of Art from any XYZ place, they expect your level of drawing or painting or whatever you specialized in. Even let's say, for example, you specialize in sculpture. So maybe an image of your sculpture, photograph of your sculpture, you can add over there in your portfolio. That's it.
Yeah. But sir, I think I just got a mail from the SRFTI. So they said ki, like you have to submit 5 pictures, one video,
Picture.
and pictures, and separately I can submit them a kind of a portfolio where I can submit sketches, my drawing, my
Yeah, you
still
can
life,
see,
my
but not too much because see, it need to be seen, right? It should not be कि अरे यार क्या भेज भाज दिया छोड़ो हटाओ क्योंकि तुम्हें तो पता नहीं है वो लोग क्या करने वाले हैं तो
exactly.
जितना लेस रहेगा उसी पीडीएफ फाइल के अंदर जो आप अपनी इमेजेस लोड करने वाले हैं आई डोंट नो हाउ दे आर आस्किंग वेदर दे आर आस्किंग 5 images separately or they are asking 5 images put together in a pdf file or ppt to submit over there. I don't know. That's why I asked someone to send me the mail so that I could read it correctly and I could send it on your email also to what format they are asking. If they are asking a PDF format, all 5 images put together and converted into a PDF, send the PDF file, then do that. If they are asking separately 5 images, then follow that format. Ideally, I would say either they would ask a PPT or PDF file because the images will not be lost otherwise. Somebody will be downloading into different folders, and if the image gets lost, so I don't know. I need to read that mail to find it out what exactly they are asking. Only then I will be able to suggest. But you can add those other extra 2 or 3 images of your painting and things like that if it is your work because you have done the Bachelor of Fine Arts. You can add additionally also, even if
we
it is
can
not art.
Can we make kind of a PPT or something like so that we can understand?
That's why I'm saying that I need to read that mail, what format they
Okay.
are asking, whether they are asking a
Got it.
PDF file, whether they are asking a PPT, or whether they are simply asking send 5 images. Okay, if it is a separate 5 images, let me tell you nomenclature of the image. Mention your full name. Let's say, for example, my name is Naresh Sharma. So I would say Naresh underscore Sharma underscore 01, Naresh underscore Sharma underscore 02, Naresh underscore Sharma under 03. So nomenclature of these images, even if it get lost here and there, I should be able to immediately search Naresh, tuck, all those 5 images will come. So nomenclature is very important when you're naming these JPEG files.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Same
Thank you,
for
sir.
the video
Thanks a
also.
lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So gentlemen, we are done now. It's 12 o'clock. In between, light went as I expected. Some nonsense is going on over here.
Sir, I
But
have one question.
yeah.
So I
If
wanted to
somebody
ask,
has a quick question, I can still answer.
yes, I have a question.
Please.
Okay. So, sir, अभी जैसे I got a mail from SRFTI, तो मतलब this interview and orientation is going to happen combined for both colleges or
Yes, because this is, as I mentioned last time also, that every alternate year they fluctuate. Is this year SRFTI is heading lead examination? Next year FTI. Sometime it happened that 2 years SRFTI would do and another 2 year FTI would do. So there is a way to go about it. Either consistent 2 years FTI will take care, and then next consistent 2 years SRFTI will take care. Or either it is 3 years, I'm not sure 100%, but yes. So SRFTI will be sending a mail to each and everyone. FTI is not going to send a mail, and it is a combined orientation.
An interview also, or interview will happen different?
Yes. It will be combined.
Okay, thank you.
This is my understanding. Very soon you will come to know. But my understanding is it is combined now. Because earlier they used to have a different and a lot of time was wasted and all that. Now they have improvised the system. So which is much better for from student point of view.
Hello,
Last
sir.
year
Sir,
they
I
did
have a
it.
question.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Please. Ask a question, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I have done BBA in Applied Arts. And जो पोर्टफोलियो में भेजने का मतलब मैक्सिमम लिमिट है वो 5 स्टिल इमेजेस भेज सकते हैं हम, वो चाहे मतलब हमारा ग्राफिक हो या कुछ भी हो.
करेक्ट.
तो जो मैंने बीवीए किया है, मेरा फोटोग्राफी जो है वो ज्यादा बेटर है, और जो बीवीए का वर्क है वो इतना बेहतर नहीं है. तो मैं
See, best of you. As I
फोटोग्राफी
said, all these work will show your sense of composition, sense of your lighting. That's it. It could be painting.
फोटोग्राफी के इमेजेस ही भेजूं.
Photographic images, because you are going to do a cinematography. You are not going to do a MFA in fine arts.
Yeah. Right.
Are you getting my point? So try to understand the purpose.
But they can ask questions from BBA.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, sir. Hello.
I hope it would be useful. And Yes.
हेलो सर, मेरा नाम प्रिंकौर शाह
Please
है।
ask.
हेलो
Okay.
सर, कैन यू हियर मी?
Yeah, I can hear you.
ये ये क्लास अटेंड करके मुझे इतना समझ आया कि मेरा थियोरेटिकल नॉलेज एकदम माइनस में है, ठीक है?
माइनस
तो
में नहीं है मैं थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट आदमी हूँ, so I was trying to give you a tough time
नो नो
because
नो नो सर,
that is what you should expect.
नहीं,
You got
मैं
my point.
मैं पूछ रहा था कि अगर मैं मेरा थियोरेटिकल नॉलेज अगर एनहांस करना चाहूँ तो शुरुआत कैसे करूँ?
शुरुआत उसके लिए बहुत जरूरी है। आप YouTube के बहुत सारे, मैंने आप लोगों को एक एक्सेल फाइल भेजा है कल कल आपको मिला है एक एक्सेल फाइल YouTube चैनल्स का?
नो सर,
हाँ सर, मिला है, मिला है।
मुझे नहीं मिला
बेटा मिला होगा, वो स्कैम स्कूम में वो क्या होता है, स्पैम में चला गया होगा गलती से, वहां दोबारा देखो जाके, ठीक है? सब बच्चों
नहीं,
को भेजा
मिला
है
है
मैंने।
सर, मिला है,
मिला है
ठीक
ना?
है।
तो
हाँ,
उसमें बहुत सारे YouTube चैनल्स के लिंक मैंने दिए हुए हैं, उन YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो। और जो बेसिक फंडामेंटल ऑफ फोटोग्राफी, अलग अलग टॉपिक्स जैसे क्या है, एक्सपोजर है, कंपोजिशन है, सेंसर है, पार्ट ऑफ द कैमरा है, इस टाइप के बहुत सारे वीडियो बने होते हैं उन चैनल्स के ऊपर। आप उनको जाके देखना चालू करिए। यू वुड इम्प्रूव योर टेक्निकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग।
ओके सर,
और
थैंक यू,
अगर तुम
थैंक
थोड़ा सा पैसा खर्च करना चाहते हो जिंदगी में, जो कि
यू।
सारा आदमी नहीं खर्च करना चाहता, वी हैव or 20 days of 2-hour classes on the technical aspects of photography and cinematography. That costs 10,000 rupees. If you're willing to spend, in which we have taken up all the technical topics one by one, and 20 days every year, so they comes out to be roughly around 60 videos. If you're really serious about it, you can send an email to me. You need to purchase them. They will not be free. I have given certain thing free. There are some students who are from editing. I have given them the Yogesh Mathur's lecture free of cost to them. But these lectures are done by our faculty, Mr. Kanaya Kishore. So they would be costing you 10,000 rupees, in which all the topics are being covered in a very, very systematic manner. Day one is this, day two is this, day three is this. They are about technical things 90% of the time, 80% of the time, and 20% they are also about the aesthetic. Yes. Otherwise, if you don't want to spend the money, there are many YouTube channels where you will find a lot of content free of cost, may not be in a very systematic manner, or there are some courses by Udemy and other things which are very less expensive than the one which we offer, where 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees, you can subscribe to their videos and buy that.
Sir, one thing. Sir, one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, they have provided us a list of general students, like they have given category, right? They have sorted us with category. So I was asking if they will make a new list, new merit list after the orientation and interview. So right now we are fighting for, well, right now we are looking for the seats जिसमें सिर्फ जनरल के बच्चे मतलब जनरल के बच्चे जनरल की सीट पे कंपटीशन करेंगे, या फिर सब लोग कर सकते हैं जनरल की सीट
ये
पे?
बड़ा चक्कर है जो which is very little disappointing for the general category student. What happened is that when they declare the merit list, a reserved category student from SC, ST, or OBC, or some EWS is also there now. So these people can also be talented and can get into the 5 list of the general category. So general category doesn't mean the merit list would be for unreserved student. Any of the student I have seen in the past, some of the reserved category student, SC, ST, or OBC, also being topper in the general list. So if they enter over there, then your chances become less. They will have their reserved category seat also, but when they prepare the merit list, they prepare the merit list on the basis of merit. So there, if they eat away 1 or 2 seats like that, then you people lose those 2 seats or 1 seat.
तो हमारा रेशियो 1:5 हो गया, मतलब जनरल का
हाँ,
रेशियो
मतलब
तो
वो
1:2.
कुछ भी कहिए, but since I have not made those rule and regulation, I am against this policy, because general category means general category. Number of candidates in general category are much more higher when they apply over there, and reserve category students ratio is less number of applicants, and when the seats are being reserved for any of the reserve category, I have a personal opinion that the merit should be prepared separately for separate list. They should not be considered on the basis of overall marks secured basis. So that's an issue, but that's the way it is. I have not made this rule, so I'm sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, good luck, all the best. And if you make it, wonderful. If you don't make it, always think that the nature has a better plan for you, and nature is the supreme power. This is what I believe in, and that's it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.